Well, because when you drink, you squeeze.
Yeah.
You're a squeezer.
I am.
I'm not a squeezer. I'm a flow. I'm just a fountain guy. You're a squeeze quick sipper. This is.
I'll push in with the
I've
bottom.
studied this for 20 years.
You're right.
God forbid you.
That did feel awkward to me, though. Okay.
What did?
You doing that. I was like, God, will it ever end? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sports Bluff. I am your host, Tristan Bunn, alongside my friend, my confidant, my fellow football fool, Ryan Lambert. We've talked about a lot of players. Let's focus more on teams. We just don't have enough time to go through every single team and talk about all the moves. I'm going to give the floor to you. What team do you think did the best in free agency?
The Atlanta Falcons.
What?
The Atlanta Falcons.
Shut up.
Dude, like every website I've read has had them. I'm defending my opinion. What am I doing? I'm going to stop that.
No.
Look, they added Kirk Cousins. They added Darnell Mooney. They added Rondell Moore. Yeah, they lost Jonnu and Jeff Okudah and
yeah.
Desmond Ridder. But like,
thank God.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for that last one. But so yeah, they lost the tight end and a cornerback. But like you can probably replace those pretty easily. But when you talk about this, Kirk Cousins, I think, in my opinion, completed this offense. You had Bijan, who was misused by Arthur Smith. They did not commit to the run. They ran him. If he couldn't get more than 3 yards, they took him out of the game, and then they put in Cordell Patterson or whoever older running back. I think
Algier,
Adrian Peterson came out one time. But like, I don't understand what Arthur Smith was doing with Bijan, like, because he's one of those guys where he's so explosive. He breaks through that first line of that first point of contact. He's gone.
But like, it didn't stop with Bijan. He didn't know how to use anybody. I liked Arthur Smith. That was his flaw.
So true. That's a perfect.
It's not scheme. He didn't know how to use his personnel.
He didn't know how to coach.
No.
Like that's really what it is. But I think Kirk Cousins immediately, the addition of Kirk Cousins, I get it that he's coming off an injury, a big injury, but pending that goes well and he's okay and he's in playing shape, which I think he will be.
Yeah.
My God, the contract better make him that way. Like, that's a lot of money.
Start pumping some money into his bloodstream. See if that helps.
4 years, $180 million, $100 million guaranteed. Like, if you can say anything about Kirk Cousins, he knows how to get paid. Crazy, man.
I don't know the exact details. They can get out of it. Like, it's actually a 2-year contract. To my understanding, after 2 years, it can be assessed, but that is the way it is.
Well, because you had to, right? Like, you had to have some contingency because you just don't know what it's going to turn into. Like, you don't have that injury is going to, especially older quarterback, like, you just don't know what that's going to do to him. I mean, we saw younger quarterbacks get hurt and they never play the same. So who knows what will happen there. But overall, Atlanta's free agency moves have been, in my opinion, monumental. Like, this instantly puts them atop their division in my eyes. Like, yeah, you got the Bucs to deal with. But if you can deal with the Bucs, and Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, if you can use Bijan the right way, your defense was pretty good. I think it was like
it was solid. Yeah,
it was really good defense. Your missing element to this whole team, besides a head coach, which you got one of those now with Raheem, right?
Raheem Morris. We hope. Like, we don't know though.
Well, it's better than Arthur Smith. Okay, there's anybody. We could be better than Arthur Smith. We are, just behind these microphones.
At least we would hand the ball to Bijan.
Out of all the things that you could have added to this team to instantly make you a competitor in your division, competitor in the playoffs, it is a quarterback. And who do you go and add? Oh, that's right. One of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
The best on the market, yeah.
And then also you got Drake London still. You got Kyle Pitts.
I think part of the Cousins signing is hoping he can really unlock those guys' potential too. Because
he should.
Desmond Ridder was probably the worst quarterback in the league last year. It was him or Zach Wilson. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, he was that bad. The guy cannot play quarterback. So I understand them making the move. I'm conflicted because I don't think they've done enough to say they were the best team in free agency. However, I see what you're saying and I get it. You're saying the Kirk Cousins signing alone puts them there. It's like they made the money move to go get a quarterback. In a weak division, we always talk about you got to look at your situation. they were a quarterback away. That's what they need, and a coach. But getting Kirk Cousins with this young talent, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, they've got high draft picks. They're going to draft someone at 8, maybe an edge rusher like Dallas Turner or something, maybe another receiver. Who knows? I like what they've done here. I just think the Kirk Cousins signing might be boom or bust. I don't blame them for doing it. I made a video just last week on my own, and I said it was one of those deals that I get both sides. I don't blame Minnesota for letting them walk, and I don't blame Atlanta for signing them. I don't know if they're going to be able to get past the Bucs, but we'll see. It's going to kind of depend on how Cousins looks coming off the injury, but I like them, just not quite as much as you do.
Who's yours?
I'm surprised you didn't take this one because this was the slam dunk for me. I'm going to... Chicago Bears. So Ryan Poles, the GM, his tenure in Chicago started a little rocky, and it really looked like it could go a couple of different directions. I think last year, getting the haul from Carolina for Carolina to move to number 1, and then already what they've done this year, and they're going to draft Caleb Williams, he is making some of the best GM moves in the league. Will it pay off? I don't know. But what he's doing, if I hired a GM, this is what I want him to do. You know what I mean? For an organization like this, what else can you ask for? So obviously they're going to draft Caleb Williams. They've got so much draft capital. What do? They go and add DeAndre Swift, a killer running back. I mean, one of the best in the league, to come in, take some pressure off of your rookie quarterback, start to develop a run game that's not all just Justin Fields running around in circles. What else do they do? Oh, they get Keenan Allen. Yeah, a little bit older, problems with injuries, but they get him for a 4th-round pick. The contract is the reason Keenan Allen only went for a 4th-round pick. Well, thankfully, the Bears are shitting money in the back office, so there's no problem. They got plenty of that. It's just good signing after good signing. Gerald Everett, awesome. Offensive line, Ryan Bates. That was a really good one. They traded with the Bills because the Bills kind of had to let him go, and the Bears are just looking to beef up their offensive line any way they can. They signed Jalen Johnson to the contract, so they secured him, who was becoming one of the better corners in the league, and brought in Kevin Byard.
Yeah, there you go. Byard, that's who I was going with. Like, it's a tremendous free agency for them. The best they've had in a very long time.
Oh, forever. Yeah, maybe my lifetime. And I didn't even know if they would be able to pull off the Jalen Johnson signing. I'm glad they did. But ultimately, it boils down to this for me. They know they're going to draft a rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams. We know he has huge upside talent. He could be the franchise star that they've been desperate for their entire livelihood.
We also thought about that about Justin Fields, but whatever.
No one ever thought he was that, though. No, I mean, he went
people
late.
People said it.
Well, they were wrong. I mean, he went like 11 or something. I mean, we were always unsure of him. You're going to be unsure about every quarterback. It is not a slam dunk. You're throwing darts. However, usually number 1 overall quarterbacks are going to a situation void of talent. But because of the moves Ryan Poles has made, dude, they are giving Caleb Williams the best possible situation. I'm surprised they stuck with Matt Eberflus. I really am. But Ryan Poles says, if this fails, it ain't on me, man. I'm not putting my rookie quarterback in danger. I'm giving him a stacked roster and saying, go to work.
Yeah, I think this screams to me that if you kept Eberflus and you got rid of Justin Fields, you thought the problem was quarterback. And how do you fix that? You get a star talent rookie quarterback that everybody's talking about. And I think this is they've kind of done the CYA method here. Like,
yeah.
If everything goes wrong, they said, well, you know what? We gave it our best shot.
Right.
Like, you can't blame us. Ryan Poles said, I'm not going to be blamed for this again.
Right.
This crowd here at the Bears, man, they'll boo you. They'll boo them. The Bears will boo the Bears.
100%. 100%. And I love what you said. It is CYA, but it's not that in necessarily a bad way. It's also putting your rookie in the best position to succeed. Why are we going to throw him out to the wolves with no talent when we can get all of these talented guys and added guys on defense? You know, they still got, they've got TJ Edwards. They made the Montez Sweat signing. They have built a really talented roster. The Bears are a team everyone now is circling and saying, who knows?
You talked about the angel on your shoulder. Let's talk about the devil on your shoulder. Let's talk about the least liked team for you in the free agency this season.
Okay. This was another one that I thought was entirely too easy for me. And maybe I am being a little too hard on them, but we touched on them a little bit earlier.
I think you're being too hard on them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. The Tennessee Titans. First and foremost, we talked about it earlier in the show. I'll go ahead and mention it again. The Calvin Ridley signing alone, I find
that's
hard
egregious.
to wrap. It is egregious. 4 years, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed. Ridley has done nothing to warrant that money. Me and you like Calvin Ridley, but I'm shocked anyone was going to give him that. I knew he was on the market. I thought maybe the Chiefs might be in play, but obviously I didn't want to pay him too much. When that news broke and the contract came out, I had to double take up my phone because I thought Rappaport had a typo. I was like, Ian, you got to fix your system because you're messing up all over the place, my boy. I don't like paying a aging wide receiver that much. We've talked about that. Let's not stick on it. The other one, you're going to let Derrick Henry go. Okay. Oh, I can understand it. You're going to let him go to sign Tony Pollard to a $24 million contract? Why? What do we do? He got 3 years, $24 million. Derrick Henry got 2 years, 16. I mean, there's not a difference. Why didn't we just keep Derrick Henry? Do you understand any logic there?
This is the blow everything up and restart, and I think this is what they're trying to do. They got Vrabel out. They are obviously rolling with Levis. Henry's gone. I think they just wanted to kind of start from scratch. Now, they started from scratch with aged players. I don't get it, but that's what they did. The Pollard issue, I'm not really picky about.
Really?
I don't know that I don't think they overpaid him because when you talk about running backs,
but why not keep Henry?
But again, I think it's just a blow up. Like they just want to. I think Henry wanted to leave, but secondly, I just don't think they wanted to. They want to get rid of as many ingrained pieces as they possibly could. I think that's where they wanted to go. I think that was what was in their head. Whether it be right or wrong, I just think that that's just what they wanted to do. The Pollard things, I don't have a big issue with. Calvin Ridley, egregious. I hate it. But they did add Awuzie and Kenneth Murray, a linebacker, and they paid some. I guess 3 years, $36 million for Awuzie. Like maybe that's a lot, but it's $23 million guaranteed. So obviously incentives are on top of that.
It is a lot. I don't understand that. He's coming off an ACL injury, and they're like, "Here, take the bag."
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I still don't think it's the worst in my eyes. It's definitely near the bottom as far as free agency goes this time around. But
from the moment they decided to fire Vrabel, this is a franchise and a team that has no plan. It feels like they're flying by the seat of their pants, and I'm not blaming Brian Callahan, and they might laugh in my face. I might be proven wrong. It feels like they have no direction. They have no purpose. Perhaps I will be mistaken. All right, what is the team that you thought did the worst or that you liked the least as far as the free agency season goes?
I know that you hated the Titans in free agency, but I don't know how you passed this team. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The best thing that they did was franchise tag Josh Allen. That's it. Other than that, they lost Calvin Ridley. But don't worry. They signed Devin Duvernay. Don't worry.
Chill,
and
everyone.
then also, by the way, we lost Calvin Ridley, but we replaced him with Gabe Davis and gave him $39 million.
Yeah, that's bad.
$39 million.
And it worth up to 50, Ryan.
After what he did at the Bills, which was, I don't know.
Disappear?
Nothing?
He found one of those Harry Potter cloaks. Where'd he go?
He was over there in the cloak wrapped up. He blended into the bleachers. Nobody knew where he went. He had one little miniature run with the Bills where he did fantastic.
Yes.
And that's just because nobody covered him.
Right.
Because everybody covered Diggs.
Also, by the way, can I interject real quick? That playoff game against Kansas City where they're like, he had a great game. He did. Also, Kansas City had a bunch of secondary injuries that game. So they could only cover so many people. Gabe Davis was just the one they said, we won't fucking worry about him.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like he did something. He was wide open.
They released Rayshon Jenkins.
Yes.
They released Darius Williams.
Mm-hmm.
They re-signed a few guys that if I named them, you probably wouldn't even know them. But don't worry, because if Lawrence goes down, you got Mac Jones, so everything's saved. You don't have to worry about your team. Tristan, you don't. The Jacksonville Jaguars are fine. They don't need anything. Tell me why this is not the worst free agency I've seen in a long time. Oh, by the way, they re-signed D'Ernest Johnson at running back. So
whoop-de-doo.
Just when you thought that, maybe if ETN goes down, you'll have somebody come in to replace him that's actually good. You got D'Ernest Johnson, so you're fine. Eric Armstead, by the way, came in for 3 years for $51 million. So they blew money on pointless positions, in my opinion, and on pointless players. Maybe you could say Eric Armstead is not a pointless player.
I was about to say, the Armstead signing, Armstead
and Josh Allen, maybe the two, but everybody knew that Josh Allen's going to get franchise tagged.
Right.
You knew that was going to happen. You wouldn't let him go that's the only good part about your defense.
And when you look at their, I just pulled up on Over the Cap just to look. So Christian Kirk has a $24 million cap number. Josh Allen, $24 million. Cam Robinson, $22 million. I can't even say Aluakon's first name, $22 million. And then Trevor Lawrence, and then it's rookie deals. I kind of just thought this one was nothing to me, but you've kind of convinced me. The fact that it's nothing is a problem. It's like, they got worse.
So Christian Kirk is your number one guy, okay? And so you come in and you pay Gabe Davis a king's ransom to come be a number 3 guy, a number 2 guy? What's it going to be? Does anybody think that he's going to be a number 1 wide receiver?
He's not even a number 2. He is a number 3.
He's getting paid like a number 1 wide receiver, though. I don't know what the contract is for Christian Kirk. Did you say that? Did you know what it is?
Christian Kirk, no, but it's a $21 million cap hit. I know that much.
Okay. Well, still, he's getting paid more than Christian Kirk. Where on this list of players that I've talked about, where are you excited?
Nothing excites me at all.
This depresses me. The fact that they acquired Mac Jones for any reason depresses me.
Yeah, that was an odd move in general.
But
I was like,
when I saw they paid Gabe Davis that much, that's when I instantly knew that this was my least favorite. And then I started going through all their free agency moves.
Right.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Sorry, Brock. He listens to probably every podcast that we do. This one's for you. I'm sorry, buddy, but y'all did nothing this free agency period that's going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I'm looking at the Gabe Davis contract, and on the tail end of it, they've added a bunch of void years to stretch the money out. But it just seems it seems bizarre to target Gabe Davis at all. You're right. This is a team, and I feel bad because I felt like a semi-Jags fan. I had so much hope for them. Last year was a disaster. We don't even know if Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback. I don't know if Doug Peterson can put things back on top, and I don't know if he can put Mr. Potato Head back together, but God help him, somebody's got to try. I got to ask a Bills fan, someone who follows it, who will be honest. Some people were freaking out because they cut a lot of people because they were over the cap. They had to do something. Is it even close to panic time for Buffalo? Is their Super Bowl window closed? Or are they still a legit title contender? What is the situation? Because I don't know.
I think they are still a contender for the Super Bowl because they still have Josh Allen.
Agreed.
Now, what happens to Stefon Diggs is up in the air right now. We don't know. There's been some, cryptic type of tweets from Stefon, because that's what grown men do. Grown men, they tweet about their issues. That's what they do.
When me and my wife fight, I'm saying, hold on, I'm getting my phone, and I'm tweeting.
Right. Well, it's a multimillionaire thing, and that's why we don't know about it. So
Fair.
You got to have millions of dollars before you can tweet your problems.
Right.
Where everybody will care about them. Yeah, I don't know. They had some questionable moves in the free agency period, but they did retain a few guys that I'm happy about, like Dawkins, Teron Johnson, guys like that I'm excited to keep around. Daquan Jones.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept him.
The addition of Curtis Samuel signifies to me either one of two things. One, they know that Stefon Diggs is going out the door and they need to replace him with somebody semi-talented. Or if Stefon Diggs is going to stay, he is a fantastic number 2 receiver.
Well, yeah, they needed him regardless because it's Diggs is the only receiver they got. They've got right now. They got Diggs and Shakir, and then they added Samuel. So
and he doesn't come with a Harry Potter cloak.
Fair enough.
So that's good. Curtis Samuel actually plays football and consistently most of the time.
I think they paid him a little too much. I thought they overpaid him a little bit.
3 year, $30 million. How much of that's guaranteed? Do you know?
I don't know how much is guaranteed off the top.
I don't think it's overpaid. I think it's maybe right on par, maybe a smidge over. But like in this market, in the free agency, like you had to put some money up because when Calvin Ridley's pulling these numbers, like these other receivers are going to demand it, and you got to pay. I don't know. I wanted one of the receivers from the Bengals. I really did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not lucky enough to get that.
Well, you don't have the money. They just can't. Yeah.
I know, but I still wanted it. I can't. I mean, there's a lot of things I want for Christmas that I know I can't get. But I still want it. I still put it on my Santa Claus list.
Do you think receivers they're drafting receiver 100%? Or do you think they're going to? But they need so many things.
Well, it really depends on where the Diggs, like where he drops. Like if he leaves or if he stays.
Do you think it matters?
I think he's washed.
I agree.
Like, he is 100% washed.
He is not a top 10, 15 guy anymore. He's not.
Nope. No, he is not. But yeah, that's my. I'm kind of just in a waiting period right now because I want to see what happens to Diggs, and then I'll be able to give probably a much more well-rounded answer to this. But as it stands right now, I think this is just free agency moves at its finest. I think you had to cut people to because you had to.
I'm glad they did it because so many teams like the Saints don't. They just keep kicking the can down the road. And the Bills said, hey, we have to do it. Like people, and even me and you make jokes about the salary cap being fake. Well, when the new league year starts, if you are not under the cap, you get penalized. Like it's I don't know what, maybe Roger Goodell shows up with a paddle and says, sorry, Brandon Beane. But either way, you've got to make the cap work. And Brandon Beane, I've been more critical of him than I have Sean McDermott. You know that. I think he gets away scot-free on stuff because he drafted Josh Allen. Whoop-de-doo. That was a few years ago. So they made moves that they had to make.
What have you done for me lately?
That's exactly right. Here's the thing, though. Ideally, I think you would hope they trade Stefon Diggs because then you get away from the cap hit. So you save yourself a little bit. I think they have to draft receiver, but the defense is so depleted. I don't think this is a Super Bowl team because they lack so many positions. I think this is them accepting, hey, we tried to keep it going with those old guys. That was our chance. And by the way, they took Kansas City down to the wire. The kicker missed a kick. It's not like they were bad. They almost beat Kansas City. So I think it's just accepting the reality of we had a bunch of old guys and it was time. So now it's a rebuild. The window is always open because you have the second most talented quarterback in the league, but you are going to have to rebuild the team around him. And I think it's going to be a tough year for Buffalo, but they'll still probably make the playoffs. And I hope they draft well. They're also still recovering from the Von Miller contract. That was a mistake that has cost them.
While we're talking about old guys, we might as well segue into the next topic.
Okay.
And that is Russell Wilson. He is now the quarterback of the black and yellow team, the Terrible Towels, the Pittsburgh Steelers. What kind of expectations do you have for him this season? Do you think this is going to be the year of the Steelers, or do you think this is kind of just is this Russell Wilson's retirement spot? Is this where he goes to die?
I almost think Russell Wilson is like a really bad cold. Like no matter how hard you try, you just can't quite get rid of him.
Can't shake it, man.
You
just can't shake it.
It's like you feel good at night, and then the next day he's throwing in training camp. You're like, son of a bitch, I thought we sent him to Italy or something. So I love the way you phrase the question. Here's the thing. Do I think it improves the Steelers? So what are the Steelers? Let's look at that first. Every year.
They're a football team.
Correct. In the National Football League.
Move on.
You got it. They go above 500. They have a winning record by the skin of their teeth. They make the playoffs, and they lose their first playoff appearance. That is what the Steelers are. And that's what they've been for the last 6-7 years. I think that's probably what they are this year. I mean, the fact that they had a winning record and made the playoffs with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, I think they'll do that with Russell Wilson. I do not think he greatly improves this team. I think he's better than Kenny Pickett and Rudolph. Like he is. Come on. But he's still Russell Wilson. He's still limited. He's still not going to throw across the middle of the field a ton. I think they are kind of what they have been the past few years.
The Steelers are like, we have iconic shows like Friends, The Office. Everybody loves Raymond, How I Met Your Mother. Like we have all these classic shows. And anytime you turn on the TV, one of these shows are always on. But it seems to be that it's like your least favorite episode that's been ran into the ground. That's what the Steelers are, man. It's just like somebody keeps playing that same episode over and over again. You turn it on, you're like, ah, crap, it's the same episode
not
at a
season
different
6.
time. Season 6, episode 5 again. It's the Steelers. That's what they are. It's like every time you turn them on, you can almost anticipate what's going to happen to them. And like, it's a rerun. It's a rerun that's been reran too many times.
That's why I thought they should genuinely consider moving on from Mike Tomlin. I know some people think that's a hot take, but what I've said to Steelers fans is, are you guys happy winning 9 games and losing your first playoff game every year? If you're happy with that, keep rolling the dice with Tomlin, but I would want something different. What do you think about Russell Wilson? Hold on. You didn't tell me your opinion. Do you
I don't want to answer.
I've got to know. Seriously. Do you think they improved? I just feel like it. I'm glad they did
it. At the position, of course. Like, because Russell Wilson's better than the other 2 guys,
right,
like that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the position, you definitely improved. Did you improve your overall chance of making it? No. Like, I don't think a quarterback is your magic ticket. Like the Titans, some fans think that Calvin Ridley's their magic ticket. I don't think Russell Wilson or Calvin Ridley
they're in a coma.
Is your... Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, I just don't think he's that guy. Like, he obviously is going to be a better quarterback because he just is. They signed Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is obviously sitting behind one of the best quarterbacks that's ever played the game. I think this is a great position for Fields to be in. He seems to be grateful. But as far as like a guy to sit behind, Russell Wilson may be the best guy in the NFL. As far as like him, just how he plays and his style, it's like Justin Fields, like Russell Wilson, Justin Fields young, Russell Wilson young is the same as how Justin Fields plays.
Yeah, well, so Russell Wilson could throw the football though.
Okay, but they play in the same style. What does Justin Fields lack? He lacks the ability to throw the football.
Right.
Who is really good at that? Oh, I don't know, Russell Wilson. So maybe this is a good thing for Justin Fields. That aside, though, all these things put in together, what is the expectation for the Steelers? As a Steelers fan, what do you need to get out of this season to make this worthwhile?
I would be realistic about it because I would say I don't expect much. I would expect the same thing. I would expect 9 or 10 wins and losing the first playoff game. But I don't feel like Arthur Smith is going to unlock something in Russell Wilson that Sean Payton can. Now, Sean Payton runs a really complicated offense, so I understand that Russell Wilson couldn't do what he needed to do. I feel like Pittsburgh will maximize Russell Wilson, kind of like Sean Payton did last year. He's going to be fine. Kenny Pickett wasn't good. Mason Rudolph wasn't good. They had to do something. I find it funny that before all of this started, people said, hey, the Steelers could go get Russell Wilson, or they could go get Justin Fields, and they end up with both of them because no one wanted Justin Fields. Were you surprised that there was no market for Justin Fields? I was a little surprised.
Yeah, I was too, because I was his fantasy owner last year, and I know fantasy isn't everything.
It is not.
He did have some really explosive games, and there were a couple of throws to DJ Moore where he just dropped it in the breadbasket like perfectly, better than you could ask of any quarterback. But it just wasn't consistent, right? Like he had a few good throws, but he's a running guy. He's a running back in a quarterback position.
Yeah.
Like that's just how he operates. He runs first, passes third.
He can't see the field either. Like he just can't. He misses so many open guys.
We need to know, is his vision this or is his vision this? Mm-hmm. So is it narrow or is it broad? Because it seems to just be a one-way street.
Right.
Like you look one, if one's not there, you run. Like that's his progression, right? And so, yeah, I was surprised that there wasn't a bigger market because so many teams need quarterbacks. This is his last-ditch effort to become a starting quarterback. If he doesn't soak up every ounce of everything from Russell Wilson and learn to throw the football, this is a perfect opportunity. You mentioned the trade. It was for a 6th-round pick, but if he plays 51% of the snaps, they will bump that to a 4th. But let's be real. Barring injury from Russell Wilson, dude ain't playing 51% of the snaps. I'm sorry.
Thank you guys for hanging with us. Free agency has been chaos. Ryan, I appreciate you being with me as always. We'll be back to talk more football as the offseason progresses. We're basically jumping straight into draft coverage. We'll be coming at you with a dual mock draft next week. See you guys there.
I'm excited.
It's going to be fun, man. Goodbye.